Today, Aileen from SSA will show you how to make your own satellites from home. You might have heard that the UK could soon be launching satellites from right here in Scotland. A satellite is an object in space that orbits another object. You can get natural satellites like the Moon and man-made satellites like the International Space Station or the Hubble telescope. Satellites are used for loads of different things, from GPS navigation and tracking the weather, doing scientific research and tracking ships, to handling most forms of modern communication like your phone, TV and internet. The UK, particularly Scotland, is a world leader in satellite design and construction. In fact, 44% of the world's satellites launched in 2018 were built in the UK. Anyway, here's Aileen with today's task.
Satellites come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes and are made up of lots of different parts or components. Every satellite though has 3 of the same components to make sure that it works properly. So the first component that every satellite has to have is the main body, and inside the main body that's where everything else is attached to it, and inside is the computer that keeps it running and tells it what to do. So that can be different shapes. So here we've got a sort of rectangle shaped satellite. Here we've got more of a cylindrical shaped one, but they still have a main body that everything's attached to. The second component that every satellite needs is a power source. So these ones here are using solar panels to get their power from the sun, which means that they'll always still keep working. Some satellites use a battery, but eventually the battery will run out and then the satellite will no longer work. The third component that every satellite has to have is some antennas, and that's so that it can send and receive information from Earth. So we can see here each of my satellites have some antennae. This one has 2. Satellites can have a lot more than 2 antennae if they want, and that just means that they can send and receive lots more different kinds of information. Other components that satellites might have depend on what job they're going to do. This satellite here, for example, has a camera, so it's going to be taking pictures. This one here has a telescope attached to it, so it might be looking really closely at parts of the Earth, or it might be looking out towards space at other planets and things. Other components that a satellite might have are things like an infrared sensor on it, so it can tell the temperature of different places on Earth, or even sort of living quarters for astronauts like the International Space Station has. So, to build your satellite, we are going to need a selection of material that you can find in your house, like some cardboard boxes and toilet roll tubes, maybe some different plastic cartons or cups. You could use some bottle lids, or even just some plain bits of cardboard. Other things that you're going to need are a pair of scissors, some glue and tape. You might want to use some cocktail sticks to help join things together, and some cotton buds from the bathroom might be handy as well. So the first thing we need to do to build our satellite is to make the main body where the computer is stored, and this can be any shape or size that you would like. And to do that, I'm going to use an empty box. Don't worry if it's already been opened. We can seal it back together with a little bit of tape along the top, just like that. And to make sure it's really secure, I'm going to put tape along the edges here as well. And that'll just make sure that it doesn't open up again. So now that you've built the body of our satellite, we need to make some solar panels so that it's got power. To do this, I like to just cut out a small piece of card and then attach some panels. So for this one, I've just cut out some squares of tin foil and glued them on for the panels, but you could also just draw them on with a pen or with paint, or find some other way. Once we've made our panels, we need to attach them to the body of our satellite. So one way to do this is by making a small slit and then just taking your solar panel, slide it into that slit that you've made. And that's nice and quite secure now. An alternative way is if when you make your solar panel you leave an extra length on the end of it, then we can cut it up the middle just towards the solar panels, not all the way. And then we're going to fold one side of it up the way towards the panels and the other side the other way away from the panels. So you've got what looks like this. Then we can just stick that onto our satellite using tape or glue. And again, it's nice and well secured and isn't going to fall off. So now we need to make the antennas for the satellite so that it can transmit and receive information. To make the dish part of the antenna, I like to just cut out one individual part of an egg box, so you end up with a bit that looks like this. And then I quite like to actually just cover it in tin foil so it just looks a bit better. So that's one way to make the dish. You could also use just a bottle top, or you could cut out the bottom of a plastic tub or glass to get the right shape. If you don't have anything like that, you can make your own dish. And to do that, you just need to cut out a circle of paper or card, and then you need to make a cut from the middle of the circle to the edge of the circle. Once you've done that, you need to push those two edges of the cup together and you will make a dome shape. You can then just put a bit of tape on the end there to keep it in place. So lots of different ways that you can make the dish of your antenna. Then for the bit that sticks out of your antenna, I like to use just a cotton bud because it's the right shape. And to attach it, I just stick a bit of glue on the bottom one end of the cotton bud and put it in the middle of the dish. And there you go, you have a working antenna. We can make them so that they have 3 bits sticking out just for extra support. And again, I've just used cotton buds to do that and stuck the 3 round the side to the one in the middle and at the edges. So you can have a variation on what they look like. Now there's no rule on how many antennas your satellite can have. It can have as many as you want it to. And then we just need to stick them on. So the easiest way to stick them on is just by putting a bit of glue on our satellite and sticking on the antenna. And as I say, you can have as many as you like. Now that we've made our main part of our satellite, we need to add any extra components we want. So if we wanted to take photos, we need to make it a camera. So to do that, I'm going to get a small box and a lid, and I'm just going to glue the lid to the front of the box to make it have a lens. So you could draw on the lens or any details of the camera that you would like, but I think just sticking a bottle top on makes a really good camera. If you wanted to make a telescope, what I like to do is get a plastic cup and cut out the bottom, and then get either another plastic cup that's a little bit smaller or a toilet roll tube that's going to fit in the middle of it just like that, so it comes out the other side. So you can leave it like that if you like, or you can get a third part, and again it needs to be a little bit smaller so that it'll go in and come out the other side of that part. So once you've got as many parts as you like and they're in the right places, you need to just use some tape and fix them in place so that they don't move. And that's your telescope ready to go. And that is your satellite complete. All you need to do now is decorate it. You can paint it, you can colour it in, you could put different colours of paper on it, you could use tinfoil, any way that you like at all. Sometimes it's easier to decorate the individual parts before you attach them together. It's entirely up to you. Now that I've given you some ideas, you can go away and make your own satellites. I've used things that I found around the house, mainly in the recycling, but you don't have to. You could find things in the garden, or you might have Lego or other building blocks in your house that you could use. Remember, what I've said today is just some ideas. You might have your own ideas that'll work well. There's no right or wrong way to do this.
Once again, your task for today is to create a homemade satellite. Why don't you try out different designs and see which one you like best? Don't forget that every satellite needs solar panels for power, a camera or telescope to explore and record, and antenna to send the information back to Earth. If you'd like to send us a picture of your homemade satellite, please ask your parents to email newton.rooms@hient.co.uk. Or alternatively, you can post the picture on Facebook or Twitter and tag @SSA STEM.